Today in my coffee table, or better say whiskey table, is High West Campfire. High West is a distillery in Park City, Utah. They are actually very good. I have tasted a couple of their whiskeys. Their whiskeys are usually non-age statement, which means they don't say how long they have aged their whiskeys. However, they're usually very transparent about how they made their whiskey and what's their mash bill, what they did with their whiskey to let their consumers know what's going on in the bottle. Now this one is a mix of bourbon and rye with Scotch Islay. There was a pretty cool story of how this whiskey came to be. The founders of High West were on a trip to Scotland and they were in Islay. They were touring around Islay distilleries. One morning for breakfast, the server brought them Islay jelly and they tasted the sweet and smoky thing. They were like, interesting. So we can mix sweet and smoky things together. When they came back home to Park City, Utah, they decided, well, let's try to do something similar here. So they bought a bunch of whiskey from Islay, mixed it with American bourbon and American rye, and made this beauty. Campfire name comes from the fact that there's Islay whiskey in it, and it tastes kind of like campfire. That's kind of the first association that me and my friends that I tasted it with, and it smells like a campfire. On the nose, it's greasy sausages with fire, like a burning campfire, with a sweet character. The sweetness here presents as more of fruity sweetness. I've noticed that the smell of this whiskey evaporated very quickly. This is a pretty new bottle. I opened it up just a couple of weeks ago and I can already barely smell anything from it. So if you buy it, make sure that you finish it quicker than your normal whiskey, or that you don't open it too much. Apparently this whiskey doesn't really like oxygen too much because it has lost a lot of its smell. I remember opening it up the first time, it was magnificent. Now it's kind of tamed down. All of the smells are not as prominent anymore. Pear sweetness, kind of like a baked apple. The sweetness presents as a baked apple in an apple pie. As it goes down, immediately you feel this sweetness that I just described as a baked apple and pear. And then it turns into ash, then it turns into sausages, and then it turns into kind of like a smoke from the campfire. It also has this nice spiciness that kind of shows up for a second and then vanishes. It kind of pats you slightly and then it vanishes away. This is the kind of whiskey I would drink with my friends by the fire. I think it's just this image has been ingrained in my brain and now I'm thinking of the campfire. Just drink this whiskey with my buddies by a campfire. But I would drink this whiskey anywhere. I would drink this whiskey at work, probably. I feel this plum in the background. Time for stories by the fire. No, actually, the stories by the fire have already ended. This is the end of the video. Goodbye.